But I be thinking like, bro, you could have did this, he could have did this, your little partner could have did this. My beef is really mainly in the music industry. It's not with the world. Oh God, I don't mean that in a bad way, but you gotta get a little bit more smoother the way you stick and sneak it in.
Quando Rondo is making his position known loud and clear after news broke that Lil Durk was jumped in jail allegedly by his own affiliates. This comes right on the heels of Durk's trial being postponed to October 14th, 2025. A delay that's only adding more chaos behind prison walls. The burning question now is, where was the rest of OTF when this went down? They're all locked up in the same facility. So why was Durk seemingly left alone in his cell like he didn't have his people with him? Leaked footage has fans buzzing, with many speculating that cracks might be forming in Durk's relationship with his crew. Things are getting tense inside MDC, and it's only getting worse. Let's rewind back in August 2022. Durk's name got linked to the murder of Quando, Rondo's cousin. Prosecutors have labeled it a targeted hit. And once the charges started piling up, conspiracy, illegal possession of firearms, and even a murder-for-hire plot, the feds made it clear Durk wasn't going to walk away from this case easily.
He's accused of conspiring with others to murder a rival rapper in Los Angeles in 2022, but the shooters missed their intended target and someone else.
Savannah rapper Quando Rondo, a passenger in that car, frantic at the sight. It all started at this mobile gas station at 5:30 Friday evening.
Durk's legal team threw everything they had at the court haven, a $3 million bond package, but the judge didn't hesitate to shut it down. The court ruled he was too much of a flight risk and a potential threat, meaning he's staying locked. Up until trial, things escalated when Durk was suddenly transferred to MDC Los Angeles, a notoriously harsh federal facility. And who's he locked up with now? His tightest OTF affiliates: Khan, KZ, Grant, DeAndre, DD, Keith, Flacka Jones, and Asa Boogie Houston. These were his day ones, but in federal prison, loyalty doesn't always hold. Don't let MDC's clean exterior fool you. It's chaos inside. Unlike state prisons, where gang members are often separated, MDC is a complete free-for-all. Drug lords, gang leaders, and high-profile inmates all mixed together. Corruption runs deep, with guards allegedly smuggling in phones, drugs, and even weapons for the right price. Fights are a daily routine, and fame won't buy you safety. What's worse, reports now say Durk got jumped-hand. It wasn't random. Rumor has it was his own affiliates behind the attack. The timing is suspicious too. It came right after footage leaked showing Durk eating alone in his cell, which had already sparked talk that something was off inside the OTF circle. If that's true, it looks like some serious cracks are forming in the foundation of his crew.
Let's see what we have today.
So the real question is, why did his own people turn on him? Was it internal street politics? Pressure from the feds? Or did someone flip to save themselves? Let's talk loyalty. We've seen it happen over and over. When the feds start applying pressure, people fold. Facing life in prison, that so-called loyalty starts to disappear real quick. There's no code when survival's on the line. Sound familiar?
OTF Jam did 12 years for attempted attack. It's around 2010. He got out in 2022, right around the same time as the Quando situation. And he allegedly had been wearing a wire for the last 2 years.
And let's be real, Liff. Durk's guilty. Who's next to crack? He's locked up with multiple co-defendants, and every single one of them is staring down heavy time. If someone from OTF is cutting a deal behind closed doors, that might explain the sudden tension behind bars. Now enter Quando Rondo. The second Durk got locked up, Quando dropped a track like everything was cool, but let's not kid ourselves. He wasn't just letting this slide. This goes way deeper than music. Even in interviews, Quando's been coming for people like DJ Academics, calling him the devil's advocate for stirring the pot. Quando's made it clear this is personal. He sees everything unfolding now as payback for what happened to his close friend and associate.
Ask him this, devil's advocate. Bro, I ain't gonna lie, I promise you, for you even just saying the devil name, I wanna just take these microphones off and walk out that door.
And with Durk now fighting for his freedom, Quando is turning up the pressure. Durk's legal situation has gone from bad to straight up catastrophic. What started as a murder for hire charge has spiraled into a full-blown RICO kazand. In the federal system, RICO is basically a death sentence. If convicted, Durk and his affiliates could be looking at life in prison, no parole, no second chances. The first superseding indictment, unsealed in November 2024, outlines a sprawling web of conspiracy, violence, and retaliation stretching back years. And this isn't just about one crime. The feds are framing Durk as the mastermind behind a criminal enterprise. To them, OTF isn't just a rap label, it's a structured gang responsible for racketeering, shootings, and organized hit. If there's one thing to understand about RICO, it's that it was designed to take down the mafia, but in recent years, it's been weaponized against rap crews. In Durk's case, prosecutors are accusing him of using his influence, money, and reputation to order hits, reward loyalty, and keep OTF dominant in the streets. According to the indictment, everything ties back to the 2020 death of King Von. Prosecutors argue Von's murder wasn't just a tragedy, was the trigger for a wave of retaliation, paranoia, and bloodshed. They claim that after Von was killed in Atlanta, Durk put out a bounty on those he believed responsible, leading to the August 2022 attack on Quando Rondo in LA. The feds say Durk personally ordered his affiliates to cross state lines to track down and kill a rival, and they claim to have the receipts, surveillance footage, recorded phone calls, text messages, and even Durk's own lyrics, which they're treating like confessions. But this case isn't just built on circumstantial evidence. It's built on deep federal investigations, cooperating witnesses, and insider testimony. And maybe the wildest part, Durk's trial keeps getting pushed back. That's never a good sign. When the feds delay, it's because they're still stacking more evidence, flipping more witnesses, and tightening the case until it's airtight. And just when you thought things couldn't get worse, another case has now been linked to Durk's name. A newly unsealed FBI affidavit from Chicago connects him to a second murder for hire plot. While he hasn't been officially charged for it yet, it's clearly on the feds' radar. Here's what it said. The affidavit alleges Durk offered money for the 2022 murder of Stephen Metz, a suspected gangster disciples leader. The FBI says they found text messages and social media posts where two individuals discussed payment from Durk to carry out the hit. They believe Durk is still paying to have people taken out, specifically anyone linked to his brother D-Thing 2021 killing. Authorities suspect the shooter was tied to the GDs, one of OTF's biggest rival. Prosecutors in LA even used this affidavit in court to argue that Durk shouldn't be granted bail. They told the judge it proves the defendant is too dangerous to be released while awaiting trial. Bottom line, Durk's not getting out anytime soon. And while he's locked up, he's dealing with pressure from every direction: his own crew, the prison system, and the feds tightening the grip day by day.
Again against you by a probable cause standard, and they will attempt to do that by the witnesses that they place in the witness chair over here.
On paper, it looks like the feds have Durk locked down with no way out, but his legal team might have a strategy to flip the entire case. The prosecution is hyping this up as the biggest RICO takedown in years, but let's not forget, we've seen this before. Remember how they built up the case against Young Thug, only for it to start falling apart? The same thing could happen with Durk. Most of the evidence against him is circumstantial, and that's a serious weakness for the prosecution. They're claiming flights, rental cars, and even masks for the alleged hitman were booked with OTF. Money trying to link it all back to Durk, but his defense can argue that multiple people had access to OTF accounts. Just because an OTF card was used doesn't mean Durk personally signed off on anything. In fact, prosecutors say Durk told someone, "Don't book any flights or anything under my name." They're spinning that as proof he knew about the hit. But his lawyers could flip that, arguing it actually shows he was trying to distance himself, possibly unaware of what was really going on. There's also surveillance footage of OTF members meeting after the hit. The feds claim they were discussing payments and music opportunities, trying to imply Durk financed the attack. But if Durk wasn't physically there, it becomes a lot harder to prove he directly ordered anything without a smoking gun like a confession, a wiretap, or someone flipping on him. The case starts to look shaky. Even some legal analysts and fans are starting to doubt the strength of the prosecution's case. There's no clear-cut evidence tying Durk to the actual crime, and unlike the alleged shooter, Durk was nowhere near the scene. To a lot of people, it feels like the feds are just trying to make an example out of another rapper. Let's also not ignore how Durk has spent the last few years reshaping his public image. He's been doing community work, donating to charities, and stepping away from street politics. If his legal team leans into that narrative, the jury might see him more as a businessman than a gang leader, and that shift in public perception could be a game changer. But here's the twist. Even if Durk beats the case, the danger isn't. Over at We Saw Quando Rondo briefly speak on peace. But let's be real, we know how this street life works. The feds might let Durk walk, but the streets don't forget. Retaliation is still in the air, and not everyone's done sliding for their fallen soldiers. So, whether inside or outside, Durk is still in the danger zone. Now I want to hear from y'all. Do you think this is the end for Lil Durk? Or is he about to beat the system like Thug did? And even if he does walk free, do you think Quando Rondo will seek revenge once the dust settles? Drop your thoughts in the comments below and let's talk about it. Also, don't forget to like and subscribe so you never miss an update.